Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Joining us on our Newsmaker hotline, and boy, he is a newsmaker on a day like this. It's Father Jonathan Morris, of course, Fox News analyst, and a priest in the Holy Roman Catholic Church. And Father Morris, the first question is, what a stunner. Were you shocked when you heard this news about Pope Benedict XVI resigning?
I was shocked. You know, I was. It's not the kind of call you expect to receive. I had prepared myself that someday, of course, the Pope would pass, just as John Paul II did, but not resign. And while it's shocking, surprising, startling, it also makes sense at some level, because at the beginning of his pontificate, his papacy, he actually made mention of the fact, when asked by a reporter, that he could possibly resign. He said, if I was unable to carry out my tasks, my duties, I would consider resigning.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that, Father Jonathan, because as a Catholic, I remember I was inspired in the latter years of John Paul II by overcoming his Parkinson's and continuing. He was a daily symbol to me of the dignity of life, that we shouldn't just cast people aside because of a major affliction like Parkinson's. And to me, the Pope Benedict's statement where he said strength of mind and body are necessary, it suggests to me that this isn't just a physical issue that he's struggling with. Did you pick up on that?
I don't think we can assume in any way that he's struggling mentally or intellectually or psychologically, because he said the same thing at the beginning of his time, that in which he said, if I'm not able to carry out my task because of mental or physical health, I would consider resigning. I think he recognizes that these are different times, and that things move so quickly. He had to watch, as he was the head of the department in the Vatican for the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith that oversaw the abuse cases that came to the Vatican. He was overseeing that department, and John Paul II at the time, in his last years, was unable to act as quickly as we would have liked on some of these issues. He recognizes, and as soon as Pope Benedict came into office, he moved very quickly on those cases.
Oh, that's a good point.
A very, very good thing for the Church. He recognizes now that there are issues that have to be dealt with. While the Pope is not first and foremost a manager, he also has to do that.
Well, I mean, we've all seen cases, though, in the past where popes have been, stayed in office when they were very infirm, and in fact, in some cases, really not able to function at all, and yet they stayed in that position until the bitter end. Is this setting a new standard, do you think, for the way the papacy will operate going forward?
It's certainly setting a precedent, and that's surprising, too. It took a lot of courage and a lot of trust on his part that he was making the right decision. As he explains in that letter, he really believes that it's necessary to have good health of mind and body. And so the next pope, as he's getting older, you can be sure that there's going to be questions.
Sure.
And that's complicated, because you don't. The first job of the pope is teaching and preserving the faith. When you have former popes that are out and about, that could create some confusion. So it's certainly a huge step, and I'm sure he thought about it for a very long time.
Well, this was my next question to you. I mean, as a priest, Father Jonathan Morris is our guest, by the way, and of course he's the author of the book, The Promise. Father Morris, as a priest or as a member of the magisterium, is it going to be strange to have sort of a Pope emeritus? Here in American politics, we're used to having a president who is termed out, but won't it be strange to have somebody who used to sit on the Cathedral of St. Peter, or on the throne of St. Peter, and not have him actually be the practicing Pope?
Well, I think, and I've heard this good sources, that he will stay living in Vatican City, so he'll have an apartment in the Vatican, and I can guarantee you that he's going to be very, very quiet. He's a quiet guy anyway, but he will not be calling press conferences. He will not be doing any news analysis. He will be very quiet. He will certainly continue to write as much as he can, because that's what he loves to do. He loves to play the piano, and he'll I'm sure be living with his older brother, Georg, who has been a very close friend and ally for many years, including during his pontificate.
Do you imagine that he will be involved in the selection of his replacement? How weird would that be?
Well, he can't be because he is over the age of 80.
Yeah, only Cardinals 80 and under can vote in the College of Cardinals. And but I want
under 80. Under 80.
Yeah,
right.
Under 80. Let me ask you about the College of Cardinals, though. I mean, the entire college has been selected by either this Pope or his predecessor, John Paul II. So they've sort of, stacked the deck, as it were. What kind of Pope should we expect to come out of that the conclave?
I don't know, but wouldn't you think that if the Pope is saying you have to be of sound mind and body, in other words, laying down a new standard, as you put it, for what the Pope should be, I don't think they're going to nominate somebody who's 78, like he was when he was being Pope. So people have talked, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this for a very long time. Will it be one of the Italians? There were, for 500 years before John Paul II, popes had been Italian. And I'm sure there are Italian cardinals who would like to get that tradition started again. At the same time, the church is growing very fast in Asia, in Latin America, and I'm sure there are those who say, we should have some greater representation.
Yeah. All right. And Father, I'm assuming you're not allowed to say who you'd like.
I can say whatever I want. I just might be the last time I say it.
All right, Father Jonathan Morris, thanks so much for joining us. Don't be a stranger. This is going to be a conversation for the next 6 weeks. Love to have you.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.